everybody. Hope you're doing well out there. This is another episode of the Return Podcast. Thank you for being here. Once again, my name is Marvin, and I got Will with me. Now, I need you to picture something for me. Hey, Will. Picture this. It's a beautiful day to talk about investing and talk about all things related to Monet. But picture this. A billionaire investor and a philanthropist says, we're going to bring generative AI classes to HBCUs, but not talking about later. We're talking about right now. This is actually happening right now. And who are we talking about? We're talking about Robert F. Smith. So in a recent interview, he's rolling out an AI curriculum at Morehouse, Spelman, and across the Atlanta HBCU ecosystem. And this is according to Black Enterprise. So he's not just donating to the computer labs. He's building on-ramps for communities that are historically out of reach from tech innovations. And that's what we call strategic generosity.
Absolutely. And I'm William McCoy, co-founder and co-host at ReturnUs and also Karuti. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking to entrepreneurs and how you can turn this movement into an opportunity. Not charity, but leverage. Because when equity meets technology, the upsides are not just financial, but it's also foundational.
Right on.
So let's set the scene, right? The article reports that Smith, founder of Vesta Equities, which is also a billionaire, has begun offering generative AI courses at Morehouse and Spelman intended to expand to all HBCUs in Atlanta University Center. His reasoning, he says he already gives his portfolio companies preferential access to resources from Amazon, Microsoft, Google, so he has the influence to build inside access AI tools. Smith sees this as a responsibility, according to this article, to create on-ramps on the platforms over which you have influence. He's launched Intern Excel, a platform with thousands of AI courses and certifications open to learners broadly. And we're not talking about just inclusion. He's talking about operationalizing. Now, this is super important. We've been talking about AI a lot. And a lot of times in the AI sector, we don't have a good footprint. Even though we have some amazing developers out there, some amazing engineers out there when it comes to AI, they typically don't have the footprint or the resources to go ahead and launch these AI-specific projects. Robert Smith, which is a billionaire, again, CEO of Vista Equities, which is a fund, has that ability, and he's putting it on the line. He's standing on all 10 toes and saying, look, I'm going to create structures in order for this to happen.
Yeah, I really like that move, especially serving people with less access to these opportunities. And, this move is the conversation that moves into opportunity. So it's past optional diversity and moves into structural change, and that's kind of what we need. So, the question for people out there, especially as a founder, is how do we ride the wave? How do we capitalize on all these AI innovations, and especially the generosity of people like Robert F. Smith? And why wait? So why does it matter for entrepreneurs? When a heavyweight like Robert F. Smith commits capital, credibility, and infrastructure to democratizing AI, it signals a couple things. And we got to pay attention to these couple things. So, number one, access is becoming a competitive battlefield. The next frontier isn't just building AI, but who gets to build with AI. Access is everything. So we also got to understand, point two, that the ecosystem matters. It's not enough to just build in isolation. Inclusion and a pipeline expansion are valuable multipliers. So you can't just build a cool AI platform and expect people to adopt it. The real winners come when you produce lives in the intersection of capability, community, and equity. Capability, community, equity. That's the formula. Write it down.
Absolutely. So for many entrepreneurs, just so we're clear about this, especially in the underrepresented communities like us as Blacks, the obstacles is early access to these models, computing data, and funding. Well, Smith's approach allows us to close that gap. So for you, that means if you're in a position for venture and not just tech, but tech plus a mission, you can help tap into this capital in these partnerships, networks, to see both profit and purpose. But I want to suggest another idea that this gives you. A lot of times, if you're a technology company like ourselves, like Karuti, you have a tough time finding underrepresented founders. It's usually the same ones over and over and over again. Or, let's be clear, founding finding black technology founders or black technology engineers and software developers. Well, with this approach that he's having and putting it right there forefront of the universities, it's going to allow you a pipeline of people that you could potentially tap in that look just like you. So when they're building your items, when they're building your software or your hardware, or whatever it is, putting that information on it, they're going to be entrenched in it. They're going to be invested in it because they are looking at this for their type of communities. So access is becoming a competitive battlefield. And like Marvin said, the next frontier is not just building AI, but it's who gets to build it. And we want to make sure that our community is a part of that battlefield.
100%. You know, when your product itself is on a ramp, a tool folks adopts while learning, you reduce friction, you deepen loyalty, and you create organic evangelists. So, you know, definitely we're talking about the effects of how we leverage AI and how we can build ramps, which give us access to these amazing technologies. So now we're going to take a look at, you know, equity and inclusion at a competitive advantage.
Yeah, so when we go into this part particularly, some folks think mission is marketing call, but I completely disagree. I think mission especially is equity and is a moat, and here's why. Recruiting advantage. People want to work with companies doing meaningful, inclusive work, right? They do.
Yeah.
It makes them feel good. They want more than just making money. Network effect. Your early adopters come from diversity-based, often overlooked by legacy players. And then ecosystem capital. You'll attract grants, impact investors, institutional partners that care about DEI, diversity and inclusion, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, versus ones who are saying that doesn't exist or it doesn't need to be in place anymore. And so that's important. And then the last part of this is about resilience. When markets swing, mission-driven companies often have more stakeholder loyalty and users who stick around because they believe in a mission. It's not just about the capital. It's not like you're looking at the ticker and saying, oh man, the ticker dropped. Let me go ahead and think about what else I'm going to invest in. You're drawn into that mission, and that is super, super important. And having people who align with your mission, who are also coming out of these universities, who are looking for jobs in technology, is going to solidify your mission and ensure that when people are looking at your company, they're looking at who's on your board, right? They're looking at who is in your company to determine, hey, look, is this person really about this, or are they not? I know that I do that with companies. A lot of companies will say, look, we're diverse companies, blah, 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 blah. And then you look on their board, and it's the same people all the way down, and maybe one person in HR, right? And then they'll say they're diverse, right? We're a diverse company because we got this one executive in HR or whatever it may be. And it's nothing wrong with being in HR. But my point is that diversity means that you have people throughout the different departments of your company who actually represent what America and the U.S. looks like. And so these are the advantages you're going to be able to take with these programs that are going to be at these HBCUs, specifically around AI, because AI is such a huge thing right now.
Couldn't have said it any better, Will. Mission-aligned equity isn't a cost. It's a competitive moat.
Yep.
So recapping everything you said, we have to see the value add that's aligned with mission-aligned equity. But we also have to understand, once we have that mission-aligned equity, now it's time to launch it in the moment. What are your thoughts, Will?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a playbook that goes along with that, right? We learn from a playbook. We always like to try to give you guys a playbook so it gives you some points that you can go back to. So when you're looking at your company and you're looking at what you want to start, you want to define your dual thesis, right? Both the problem and the equity goal that you're trying to solve. In this situation, for example, in his situation, he has this AI model, these AI programs, but then the equity is going to be in the fact that he's investing not only himself, but also companies that he may invest in as well, right? That are going to be out there with these founders who are mission aligned to him. So that thesis is a dual thesis. On the side that where we stand as a crowdfunding platform, we're looking at companies with a dual thesis of, hey, look, here's my company, right? And here's why I think it's important. And then here is a piece of real estate as a real asset that's attached to it to make sure that I have some backing or make sure that I have a safe space to go ahead and grow my idea. Second point of the playbook is to build an MVP that embodies the on-ramp, right? Minimal product plus minimal education or access. We always tell people to have like a no-touch type situation because that's what people are used to. And even if they require a touch later on, a lot of times people have just been so geared from apps to go ahead and try it first and then look for help when they need it. You want to build a no-touch type situation when it comes to yours for as much as possible. Even down to being able to call in right now. And there's a lot of AI that sounds just like a person. It answers all the questions, 90% of the questions that people want, right? And it can do the actions inside the system with authorization from you that you need to get done even better sometimes than a customer service person. So you want that no-touch MVP. See partnerships early. Approach HBCUs. Even if you're not there yet, right? Even if you're not looking at hiring, let them know that you are in the running of trying to look for people who are your best and brightest or who are in the AI technology space so that you can start having conversation with them so you can start winning them towards your team because you're going to grow your company to be hopefully something like a unicorn or whatever it may be, something that can be sold. And then again, crowdfunding and community funding. Invite your network, invite your friends, invite your family, invite mission-aligned backers and people and tell your story who are going to follow you. Pilots and hackathon challenges, be there. Even if your thing is not necessarily in that space, be there so that you can pick up people. You never know who you may meet there. And then once you get feedback from your users or family or anybody testing it, you then go back and say, hey, look, let me go ahead and reiterate this information to make sure that people are getting the idea about what you do. And then once you get all that down, you scale it, right? You get it down, you scale that off.
100% will. This is a critical point, and this is personal too because we want to make sure paralysis by analysis doesn't take in. It might be overwhelming. So no matter who you are, where you're at, or where you're at with your vision, just launch the mission. And what I found always happens is your network, your constellation of users and your learners becomes your product market fit engines, and they're going to help you steer and align with their collective vision, and your product will get better. Just start. That's the key follow. Launch the mission first, the product will follow. Launch the mission first. Perfect example. Imagine, like a startup builds an AI tool for creative writing, but they also run into program at HBCUs giving, I don't know, let's say credits to students to use the tool in class assignments. These students become power users, and they provide structured feedback and advocate the product before it even goes into mass market. So it just solved an issue just because there was a need, and they took the chance and launched it.
Simple. And that's not far-fetched, right? Think about what Facebook and some of these other companies did. They went to universities first, right, and got their product market fit through universities. Snap, all these things a lot of times will go to university because that's the future. That's who you're actually targeting with your product a lot of times, right? Well, even if you're targeting somebody of high net worth, it's going to be probably somebody, if you're looking at a long-term company, who is going to be coming out of that university, who's going to be an entrepreneur. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Marvin. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no. The bottom line is that it's critical to get started. The tools are available. The knowledge is growing. Just recapping, use your network, launch your product. And if you have or want to know anything more about those particular calls of information, Karuti.com is the perfect place to visit. Visit Karuti.com. And also join us at ReturnUs.com. Hit subscribe and share. We talk about these topics and more on a daily basis, and we'd love to see you there. So Karuti.com and ReturnUs.com. But just remember this, generative AI is not the future. It's here. The question is, if you aren't building it, who else will be building it?
So let's do something. Let's build something. Let's create bridges. Again, continue to follow us on the ReturnUs podcast. You'll see the next episode coming up pretty soon. We can't wait to talk to you soon. Take care.